Sharma, Discovering Self Through Dance. As always, we shall begin with our three Omkars and our invocation prayer. I request all of you to please close your eyes. Sit straight. Focus on your breath. We recite three Omkaras together. Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I request you to keep your eyes closed. Bring your hands near your chest in Namaskara and open your eyes with smile. So namaste and welcome again to today's Sammelan. So I understand that all of us or most of us are connected together through ancient Indian wisdom. Ancient Indian wisdom has come through us in various forms, through scriptures, through stories, through rituals, traditions, and art. And when we say art, Indian classical dance forms have been an integral part of it. In some of the Indian classical dances are also called as temple dances because they have deep connection with our roots, with our culture, and with our ancient wisdom. So having the understanding of this, I'm extremely excited and eagerly waiting for today's Sammelan, that is Charles Ma, Discovering Self Through Dance. Rajesh Kamath in conversation with Charles Ma. This session, the idea generation of the session, the execution, coordination, and representation of the session is by Chiranjeev Gurukul Community. Chiranjeev Gurukul Community consists of past and present members who are undergoing the Chiranjeev Gurukul course. Won't take much of your time. For further conversation, I would like to hand it over to my dear co-learner, Nagarajan Ji.
Thank you, Upasana. I would have a pleasure to introduce Rajesh Kamath to this august audience. He's a co-founder of Chiranjeev Gurukul and co-founder of Chanakya One Consulting. He had built communities like LPSG, Living Philosophy Study Group, and co-founder of MTHR, More Than HR. Fortunate to get associated with him for the last few years. He's an enlightened leader. Mission has of Uttishta Bharat, taking a Bharatiya Shastra to the whole world, relentlessly working with the great business owners, leaders, professionals, and others in India, as well as the other overseas company. Actually, if you listen to Rajesh, he can make you to notice the unnoticed. If you read his articles, blogs, you will be able to perceive the unperceivable. If you attend his session and study, you will be able to recognize something in you that was not recognized so far. I would like to hand it over the podium to our enlightened master, business leader, guru for many of us, our own Swami Rajesh Kamath. Thank you.
Namaste to all. Thanks so much, Nagarajan brother. That is, I think, far over the deserved accolades, but thank you so much. It feels great to be part of the Chiranjeev Gurukul Sammelan. Have had the opportunity to co-found the Chiranjeev Gurukul Leadership Course, my dear friends. It gives so much joy to take Indian wisdom to the masses, because Indian wisdom actually spans across all disciplines, all walks of our lives, whether or not we actually want to practice it. It's just there. And I think to bring that really alive today, we have an amazing exponent of our Indian wisdom, the very, very, I would say, powerful, entertaining, inspiring Charles. I'm going to share a little bit more about him before I bring him in. So when you see Charles and you read his name, one is that you get reminded of a global business tycoon on one hand, a very famous one who seems to have gone into hiding thanks to the government haunting him. And on another hand, his name is something that is uttered by lakhs of Indians every single day with great reverence to their mothers. So that's what Charles is. You just can't kind of identify him by simply saying, oh, he's a dancer. He's far more. All right. So that's one thing. Now, in my past interactions with him, I truly enjoyed whatever little conversations I've had with him. And of course, it's needless to say, it was very, very incomplete. And therefore, we organized this so that we can hear so much from him. But for those of you who have just not had the opportunity to read anything about him or see anything or listen anything about him, just a little bit that I would like to share is that he has a very inspiring story to tell, my dear friend. And lots of it, you will hear it today. Of course, he's a Bharat Natyam dancer. He's a teacher. He's a choreographer, a TEDx speaker, a lot more. But what I love best is, the down-to-earth way in which he shares his amazing and touching his experiences, both in one go. So with that little background, I am requesting all of you now to stay put and not move from your seats for the next 1 hour. Namaste and great welcome to you, Charles.
Thanks, Rajesh. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, Charles, I want to start with a, I would say a very common question on probably everyone's mind. And then we'll go to the more intense.
Okay.
How come there are hundreds, probably thousands of Indian men learning Western dance, Bollywood dance, all that, salsa, falsa, all of that. लेकिन इतने कम भारतीय males भरतनाट्यम या कोई भी और अदर भारतीय डांस के लिए क्यों नहीं जाते?
So, I think, first of all, it's very difficult. पहले तो बहुत ही मुश्किल है, number one. Number two, I think everybody has a really bad pre that's even our fault, right? So there's a certain aesthetic sense to the arts. Like when you go to Chennai, the male dancers they look like gods. But if you go to other parts of India, male dancers are given too much makeup. So they give too much makeup. And people think that male dancers are effeminate. It's not that. It's usually creative children. The feminine energy is activated. So they obviously, even for me, like my feminine energy is highly activated. So I'm extremely good at keeping a house, even more than my domestic help. I have to tell her, clean the basin, see what you've done. आज इसका, इस डब्बे के cover को धो लो आप. I have to tell her. And then like my mother says, oh God, why do we have domestic help? We'll do it ourselves, So what happens is with children who have that feminine side, right? They like creative things, painting, music, art, and they're quieter. And there is a feminine side, and the masculine side is my friends, hatta gatta gym goers who are the size of like 4 men put together, but they were good friends with me. So everybody looks at my friends and says, "Now, what connection does this boy have to these boys?" And they're rough, like sorry to say so, they're toxically masculine, my friends. So when they see a girl going, all my four of my friends, their heads turn like this, and they're all looking at that girl like that, and they're passing comments, and I'm with them, and I'm so embarrassed I don't know where to look. But they're lovely guys. So they're lovely guys. Dil ke saaf hai. They're just typical, Indian boys. So I think that's what happens. There's a preconceived notion that boys are effeminate to dance, which is not true.
Well said.
Yeah. So I think, and media makes it worse. Whether it's a film that makes, like, I've seen some South Indian films. They show a male dancer being very effeminate and being the butt of the jokes, right?
Yes.
So
My God, what stereotypes we build.
stereotyping people. Like, I'm not at all the stereotype. First of all, everyone looks at me and says, in gym, they're like, "Ye dancer hai." I get a question. "Oh, so you teach hip hop? You teach salsa?" I'm like, yeah, sort of. So you have these preconceived notions that if somebody looks like this, somebody does this.
So well said. Amazing. And that too in a nation where we are so diverse. So if I may say so, Charles, to me, you represent what India as a nation itself stands for.
Absolutely.
Very diverse, lots of inspiring stories, beautiful, feminine energy, that is, intriguing,
Absolutely.
mysterious, mystic, all of that and more. So I want to ask you, Charles, and I'm sure audiences would love to know, how did you get to this point? Did you plan your life to be a Bharat Natyam dancer and teacher?
Absolutely no. So again, a creative child, very loving child, very sensitive. My teacher would shout and I would hide behind a sari. I remember once crying so much and I hid behind my teacher pulling a sari. And I wrapped my face with a sari and everyone burst out laughing. It was very small. I had, very, very quiet, sensitive child. My parents, the diaspora was like that, right? So, like, say the any diaspora. Like, I know South Indians who went from Kerala to Gujarat to settle down. My parents from Darjeeling, from Calcutta, they came down here. Very sensitive child. I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I was pathetic in science. So, and I had one very scary maths teacher who made my life miserable. She would beat me every day in class. I would literally be shivering and telling God, "Please don't let Mrs. Raman come today." Mrs. Raman, please don't come. Every day class was like that, right? And then I wanted to write painting, So then I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be a graphic designer. Then I wanted to be a fashion designer. It just went on and went on. And then somewhere, somebody had seen me dance. For people who are not from Bangalore, Bangalore was a very different place 20 years ago, 25 years ago. There's nothing much to do. So, like the Broadway plays, there were plays in Bangalore. So the Lion King was here, and there was a movie called Dil Chahta Hai. I think Saif Ali Khan. And yeah. So they took the rights and they made a movie of that. They made a musical of that, and I was a background dancer. So I was really bad at dancing. Just like I should talk to my left hand. I'm saying left hand move, and all the dancers would make fun of me. The senior dancers. We had a beautiful dancer, a classical dancer, Kathak dancer, and one day they were doing a contemporary piece. I still remember they did this and they did this, right? So this means flower and bee. It literally is a flower and bee, but otherwise it represents union between a man and a woman. It represents Shingaram. These girls were doing something and I was so fascinated. I said, "Wow, look at this." So I went to her and said, "Can I also do that?" And she was exotically beautiful, and everyone's like, "Oh, dancer, classical dance." Classical dancers are exotic. Everyone's like, "Oh, she's a dancer, namaste, namaste." You know how it is. So I said, "Can I please be part of that?" And she's like, "Go from here like this. You're a junior. That's not for you. You do your Bollywood dance." I grew up in a boys' school. I was not used to women talking to me like that. And by 16, 17, the blood was hot. from that quiet boy. Then I said, come on, I'll teach this girl a lesson. Instead of doing Kathak, I said, I learned the art form and I will teach her a lesson. So, but then I was also very smart. I said, this girl is around 10 years ahead of me in Kathak. No matter what I do, I can't catch up with her. Let me take a U-turn. Let me do Bharat Natyam. So it started like that, like saying I'll teach somebody a lesson. And it just went on. And then it just, one thing led to the other. And I don't know why I danced. There was such a calling. Like even now, but I'll tell you the journey. So at that time it was just a madness. It was lover, it was friend, it was a lover basically. Love-hate relationships. So I love it for 2 days intensely and then I hate it. I don't want to see it for 2-3 weeks for whatever reason. My friends are like, hey, this guy is doing Bharatanatyam chi. Or somebody's like, you have such small eyes, you do Bharatanatyam. Somebody still, after becoming such an established dancer, somebody's still on Facebook, one of my friends. He's like, hey, aak khol ke nach. And he got attacked so badly on my page because, people, I mean, whatever the size of the eye, I know people with girls with size 70 mm, like might we joke, like camera eyes, 70 mm eyes, big eyes. There's nothing inside, it's empty, because there's no, I'm talking about the younger generation. There's no experience. Now to be a wonderful artist, an actor, you have to experience life, right? So I just went through these experiences and I've had a tough life. I think God gave me a tough life, right? I'm a very spiritual person, whoever God is. We have these very intense conversations with my students, and it becomes more intriguing. So a tough life in every way, in love, growing up, fitting in, not fitting in, a typical middle class family. Like I tell somebody, I crack a joke. If you've seen the movie Kapoor and Sons, so that's my family, throwing plates at each other, screaming on Diwali night. Puja's over, then they start fighting. So I come from a family that's mixed, right? We were half Hindu and half Christian in the family. So it's very weird. My friends were so jealous. They were like, Hare, you just finished Diwali. Now Christmas comes for you. So we would have like festivals and equal dhoom dhamaka, right? My parents and my dad was doing well for a while. And when the bourgeois, when there's new money, you want to just throw it away. So crackers worth 10,000, 15,000 rupees, huge parties, friends over, liquor pouring out like a river, because that was new money. So when you have old money, you're like, acha, money is important. But when you just discover money, you want to like, so through that, it was just crazy through that being in a Hindu Christian family. My grandmother had a certain view. My friends would go out and we would have, when I was younger, kya khaya? We had steak. My grandma's like, what is steak? And they'd be like, then she knows it's beef. Then she won't come near me for 2-3 days, And then then she would say, don't do it, galat baat. My grandma was a Hindu till she died. She didn't convert. So fortunately, people converted in the family. So my family is like Kapoor and Sons, right? Madness. I remember going to a function once. Half the family is Nepali, with names like Lakshmi and Puran and Priyanka. And then this side is that Charles and Calvin. And then the other side has some funny Chinese names I can't even pronounce. So I'm looking at everybody, I'm so confused, So Kapoor and Sons is my family. Typical, I don't know about you, but I grew up in a time where a parent's job was to educate a child, put one shirt on his back, and this is what I was told. Get a good job. You must get a good job. That is the only priority. Get a good job, get a good job. See your brothers, see your friends. Uske baad shaadi kab karega, shaadi kab karega. Proposals are coming. What is going on with you? My father's like, shaadi kar le. I'm like, yeah. And then what? He's like, yeah, you will become responsible. I'm like you. When he got married to my mother, he was hardly working. My father. My mother was holding fort, and saying, my father's working. Chalo, let him. It's a love marriage. So love marriages are, right? So it was like that, I just danced and I just danced through life, So coming back to the point is that you need life experiences, you need to be hurt, you need to, you need to have joy, you need to have sorrow, you need to fall, you need to rise. And that makes your dance beautiful. The problem with today's generation, I see, right? I mean, obviously they're your children, some of them. You're well educated, you've had a good job. Your second generation, my parents were probably first generation Indians after independence, correct? So after independence, 1970, 1960, it was just a struggle, to make a life. So if you don't study, you fail in subject, marpeat ghar mein, because, they're worried about your future. You have to study, you have to do well in your life, But today's generation is not like that. And the third generation is even worse. So when you see a young dancer, everything is there. The line, the geometry, the technique. But, there's a certain depth that is missing because they've not experienced life. So I tell my girls are all 20, 20 plus. I said, you're having fun now, you dance. You get married, tab pata chalega. You have to get up at 5 in the morning, cook, clean, do whatever. And I'm not being sexist here, right? Ultimately, I do it. I do what my mother and what a lot of women do. I get up at 3:30, 3:45. Kitchen, cleaning, cooking, praying, dog, practice, aligning myself. It's a lot of work. And imagine if you're a working woman. So today I know those days when I was young, I'd go home, throw my bag somewhere, throw my shoes out. My mother would say, what is this? Put your shoes in a place. You don't realize it, how irritating it is. Today I've stepped in my mother's shoes and not my father's shoes. But there are men today who are doing that. I know my students' husbands who cook for them when she's out at work. It's amazing. Oh, he's holding fort at home. She goes for a holiday with her friends and he's taking care of the boy. Srinivas is taking care of Aditya. And Purnima is like, he's with Aditya, they're having pizza, burgers and all that, So it's been a real journey. So I think through that dancing, I've come here,
Okay.
Those experiences.
So it's all about, yeah. So I got one big insight from all that you said. You need to hurt somewhere to really deepen your art form.
No, not necessarily. No, see, if your parents have made you a person full of empathy, sympathy, and kindness, then you don't have to go through that grind. But if you're going to be born, you're 18 years old, your parents are going to give you an Audi which is worth 50 lakhs. Can you imagine the domestic help is packing your tiffin, washing your bottle, saap. There are boys in my gym like that. And the arrogance, I tell you, the 18 years old, the arrogance, so but if your parents have brought you up well, that's why I tell my friends, you bring your child up well, please bring them up as sensitive human beings. Then you don't have to go through the grind. But yes, that helps, right? When you can empathize with somebody. I didn't kill there's a little rat in my house. So he had come in, it wasn't a big rat, it was a small rat. And he gets caught in my big paper bin. I don't know what he wants in that paper bin. I didn't kill him. Even if I kill a cockroach with create, like guilt. Because in the night the cockroach disturbs my face. And that I hate. So that guy I have to spray. But the rat you didn't have to kill. One day out of panic, I remember we were alone. There was a rat in my house and he was robbing food. Poor guy. And I get only old houses, right? Till now I've shifted houses this is divine providence. If you're a believer, you're not, right? So huge rat was coming up my kitchen sink and destroying my things, like eating the puri that was left, eating my fruit. One day I panicked when I saw him. I started hitting him with the broom. And after I saw blood, I panicked because I didn't mean to kill a creature. I eat meat with great difficulty, and every few years and months, meat doesn't go down my throat because I can't. I want to. I'm like, okay, eat chicken, you'll get muscles. But the stomach says, just stop. You can't do this. My stomach is telling me no, right? I want to go to gym. I see my friends. I want to be like them, right? Like I want nice muscles and, I want to be fit and low carbohydrates. The in thing, low carbohydrates, high protein, and look all sexy. And then it doesn't go into my stomach. I can't. Imagine eating 600 grams of chicken every day. My friends eat 15 eggs, 20 eggs. I mean, imagine what it's doing to your stomach. And I sense it, right? So, I don't think it's necessary for you to you can be born with a silver spoon and be a wonderful artist. But yes, that pain adds. I noticed that everybody, the greatest gurus, whether it's Kelucharan Mahapatra or it's Birju Maharaj, they've all gone through the grind. Kelu Babu used to work in a beetle nut field. His father used to beat him, he ran away, and he was just an experience. And the ones who are born with a silver spoon, they're just dancing divas. Like in Tamil, they say, Chinikku minikku irukkalam. I mean, outside you're shining, you're glittering. But sark, you need to have stuff, you need to have integrity. Sark, I don't know what the word for sark in English is. If somebody knows, it's a very colloquial Tamil word. Chinikumanikku shining. So today's dancers are like that, like a beautiful ball from outside, but under say, and I remember listening to a ghazal guru telling somebody, he said, "Beta, आवाज में दर्द लाओ." That's when it happens. And the word ghazal actually is I think the Arabic word for ghazal. So it seems when the gazelle is shot in its heart with an arrow, it cries out, and that's what a ghazal is. It's a lot of pain, right?
Lovely.
But today's generation doesn't understand that everything is 2 minutes. Everything is 2 minutes.
So let me ask you this. Sorry to interject. Very,
No,
very
no, no.
beautiful stories. Tell me a little bit about the transformation of Charles as a person once dance became part of your life. I mean, it's crazy the amount of experiences you are sharing. It is so diverse, but still, if you could share a little bit about how did that individual change? What change did you see?
No, it's very sad, like today in India, we believe the guru is God, right? The guru is the Parabrahma Sthanakam. But like spiritual gurus, I read a story of a murderer who was hiding in some mutt as a spiritual guru, as a Baba. Can you imagine? A murderer wanted by the police was hiding in a matha as a saint. So even with dance, it's like that. So I have diversed through so many gurus who maybe new, who are half-baked, who have this ego. I am knowledge herself. So whatever I do is correct. I can never be wrong. So people take that too literally. When the Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru, they think, oh, I am God. And whatever I do passes. I went through very toxic series of teachers. Very, very toxic, very sad, but where they either look at you as a ATM machine. I know a teacher who would be rude to everybody. Only on the 5th, oh, Yanamma, come to class because it's feast time. Or if a car comes, that teacher's like, oh, who is it? Go see, Charles, go see. Yaar banda para. Because car kid means rich kid. It's quite sad, all these things like the rich kids, the beautiful girls, the fair girls were all in the front. And some teachers were quite racist also, like the Brahmins were all front, And I was always scratching my head. I couldn't figure this out. I was like, what's going on in this class? But luckily for me, they didn't do it to me because I feel like every teacher has, I don't know why, every teacher had a soft corner for me. Whether they were good or bad, whether they were toxic or not toxic, every teacher loved me. And also they loved me because I used to pay my fees quite a bit. So yeah, so it was quite a journey, through that. And I struggled with it. So I'm struggling with a dysfunctional middle class Indian family. I'm struggling with an identity in school. I'm struggling with what's happening in my country. So when I got to know about the 1984 Sikh riots, Operation Blue Star, when I was of age, I understood Godhra, I understood Ayodhya. I just couldn't put all this together in my head. It was such a mess right in my head. Then one day, I think there were some riots in Bangalore between the Northeast and the Muslim community. So all my friends called me and said, "Are you okay?" I didn't even realize one day there was a big gang of Muslim boys outside my house, and I went out thinking, because I don't look at the mirror and look at this, right? I think I think like I'm a Tamil mama. So I walked out, and then my friend said, "Run in. You are not supposed to be out." The tension was high. Yeah, whether in my head I'm a Tamilian, right? A Kannadiga. I grew up in Karnataka. My food habits are Tamilian. Like I got late because I was making my evening snack, which is a dosa. Evening I need a dosa with something like that with some coffee. So I got late. So as a youngster, it's quite sad. It's wonderful in one way. We Indians, sad. I'm processing all this. I grew up in a time where my bedroom used to open up, and I could see the gopuram of temple. So I studied in a convent school, St. Joseph's. So being supposedly a Christian child, I was pushed into, saying my prayers and reading the Bible. Then I come home, my neighbors treated me like their own. My grandmother was a practicing Hindu. When it was raining, she would say Ram Ram Bolo. And I'm processing all this. And then the mosque. So early morning, when I remember that it's not in Subrabhatam, it was very, very something very like on one broken record that temple would play it very loudly. And it was a very bad recording. And at the same time, the mosque, the azan would start 5 o'clock. And my family, all of us, even now, I get up at 3, which is crazy. My auntie stays separately. We get up at 3:15, 3:30, 3:45. We stay separately. We get up at the same time. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, the mosque and the temple are going on. Now imagine I'm processing all this. What's happening in the country, what's happening with me, who am I, right? When I'm dancing in college, my mother's like, what are you going to do with your dance? You're going to be a good for nothing. My teacher once flung Mr. Dixit, I think he died, poor fellow. So he threw my project across the, like in filmy style. I was 1 minute late to class. His favorite student. He didn't want me to go to a college fest. I went. Then I became the most hated child in class. He threw my project and my project fell like paper like this, like in filmy style. He said, you're a good for nothing, you'll be nobody in your life. So I'm going through all this. Then my friends were doing very well in college. They got placed. I remember I was quite celebrated in college also as, oh, Charles is the in thing, because every college fest we would win and come back with big trophies. But towards the end of college, you're realizing things where your friends are doing well. They're getting packages. I'm talking about 2005. That time they're getting paid 50, 60, 70. Some got a lakh, 12, 15 lakhs. That time was a lot of money. I remember I walked into a wedding once, and actually my students who I taught in college actually did this. I never forgot that. I never forget anything. I never forgot that, right? So that happened. Then I became successful as a dancer, supposedly, whatever success is. But I wasn't truly happy. It was a technical thing. Dance takes at least 15 years to become dance, right? So everyone thinks, oh, 5 saal seekh liya dance. When you're dancing after that time, it's a physical thing. It's outside. It's not inside. And everyone's like, wow, look at the virtuosity of this boy, the next big thing in India. And I became a star. And I got into a controversy with a journalist. So actually, I was ruined. The whole community pulled me down. Everybody, I was young. I was 29, almost Sushant Singh's age. The whole community is pulling me down. They had a huge fest on Facebook, cyberbullying. In those days, I'm talking about 10 years ago, right? And I was ruined, I thought, and it hit you so bad that I said, I don't want to dance again. Let me go back. And people are mudslinging. But I think being somebody like I am, a very, very, very clean person, I think somebody was watching over me. Every day there was something that was coming my way, right? So that happened. Then I bounced back. And it's been an upward climb. I mean, not here. There's another place for spirituality. So we can have another talk one day about spirituality, how I feel that it's amazing. If you're a believer, if you're not also, it's interesting. It's a story. So I went through that journey, and I discovered people in that journey. How depraved people can be for their own good. How they can pull you down. How when your best friends, when you are sinking, will not help you out. Yet in that, I'm still a very, very kind human being. I am not going to let anybody take that away from me. Being a good human being, you cannot take that away from me. You cannot take my light away, right? Very interesting. So I'll tell you more. You will not take my smile. You will not take my light. You will not take my bhakti away. That you cannot. And you cannot take my bhakti away. When something troubles me, I tell God, I tell her, I said, you pull me through. You, the mother figure. I'm a very big Devi Bhakt. I said, you pull me through. And through that, how do I get up at 3:30? I do. So I'm here and I'm 38 years old. Everyone looks at me. My college friends looked at me like this, like, oh my God, look at this guy. They look like my father. Some of them. Baal jhad gaye, pet nikal gaya, looking unhealthy, And here I'm going backwards. But it's that journey of great, like somebody told me interesting thing. They said 2013 was a very bad year for me, publicly humiliated, lost, no love. That Indian parents, The child is going through something. My parents can't see it. They look at me every day and they can't see it. This child is on the verge of taking his life at 28 and 29. My parents can't see it. They're lost. They're busy doing their business. They're doing their work. Mother's making money. Father's doing his own thing. Imagine a child in their own house, under their nose, is going through something so traumatic. And you can't see it. As a parent, you have to be so aware of it. As a teacher, I know one day a child's eyes are moving. I know what's happening. You know, I know I can sense it. Forget even knowing it. I can sense it. So through that journey, it's been to this point where I said, and there were times I was very angry. I was very angry. I was like, I've seen people like this. I was like that. Somebody hurts me, one person, and immediately my spikes will come out like a porcupine. I will hurt everybody around me and keep on hurting everybody. Somebody hurt me, so I'll hurt everybody. And you don't realize the repercussions of it, right? You'll lose your friends, you'll get more lonely, you'll spiral downwards. Right. And then there was a great realization slowly through spirituality helped me. And then Bharat Natyam became a very spiritual thing. So Bharat Natyam for many years is a physical thing. Taya, sweat and grit and buckets of sweat and teachers. Then somewhere it becomes your best friend. Oh, yes. My dad.
So I wanted to ask you this. Apne bola we will speak another day. But I wanted to ask you this because you mentioned it even in our last conversation. So what is Charles Ma's relationship with the Ma?
It's amazing. So in 2013, I was in very, very bad state. I think somebody could sense it. So there was a student's mother. I'm so grateful to her. She said, you know what? Don't dance. You teach my girls. I'm not going to let you dance, because she was a huge fan of mine. Then they were worried. They saw me spiraling down. They were Malayali Palakkad ayers. Palakkad is very, very is known for tantra and mantra. So she took my date of birth, my jatakam, and she sent it to Palakkad. They didn't tell. This is an artist. This is a Christian boy supposedly. Doesn't even know, not even South. They just sent. It came back. She said, "You listen, sit down. This is what the Purohit said." The Purohit said 4-5 things. He said, "This is an artist jatakam. He will reach dizzying heights of success." Number 2, he said his jatakam is like Dasharatha. Everything will be there, but family sukha will not be there. Okay. Number 3, he said he's going through a bad. 32, it'll pass. 35, he'll start climbing. 40 beyond will be his peak. And he'll be one of the most successful men in the world, in the country. But he's going through a bad time. He should go back to the mother. Stay with his mother. He should not stay alone. Immediately, I packed my bag and I went home to my mother. My mother made it worse. My mother's toxic. My mother is carrying the baggage from her marriage and her life, right? See, parents are like that. Indian parents, come on, 1970, struggling, bringing your children, 2 boys up. A typical Indian family. I know most families are like this only. My neighbors still fight. They're 70 plus. And he walked out of the house. Can you imagine? And at 5 o'clock, I'm chanting and they're fighting. At 5 o'clock, 4:30, they're having a fight. 70 years, can you imagine? So I went back to my mother's house and she made it worse, my mother. Because my mother has panic attacks. My mother doesn't know how to be calm, right? Anything happens, she screams. First thing she screams, she panics. Looking at her, everybody else panics and it starts off. So if I'm not well, a fever is a very, very big thing. Then life went on. I was really depressed. I was overeating. Every night I would just go out to a cafe. Bangalore was very quiet. I'm saying 10, 15 years ago. I would eat sugar after office and I got back to corporate job. Somewhere I lost myself. We were just meandering. One day I was sitting in a cafe and suddenly I could hear Pondicherry. I'm like, what? I thought maybe it's a burnout, right? Because I hate traveling. I hate packing my bags. I hate running to the airport, catching a bus or whatever. On impulse, I didn't know how to use BNB. I booked it. I went there. Went to a horrible lodging and stay. Right? And I did all that. And it was terrible. I remember it looked like a Hawaiian hut. But I went there, it was like one chawl with one gutter passing and chickens running around and stinking to high heavens and all that. I connected to somebody with a friend. He said, this guy is there and he runs a homestay. So I went to the homestay. He picked me up. And first I looked at him, I was a little weird because I saw a tattoo on his neck of the Devi, like 2 eyes, and the nut. I was like, you with the third eye. I was like, you're so tacky. Why would you do that? Why would you put the Devi's eyes there? For me, I was not a Devi Bhakta at that time, but I thought it's just not done. I didn't think too much about it. He was a Devi Bhakta. There was a huge house where the owner was a Japanese American guy interested in Indian mantra and tantra, and he used to do vipassana. Huge house in the middle of like a sort of a forest, and it was with karaikuri doors. It was fascinating, the house. Huge sculptures. So I grew up a certain way, right? Like around South Indians. So after my bath in the morning, I always said I need to say my prayers. So I asked him, I said, is there a puja room? Can I say my prayers? He said, yeah. He went looking and there was this many keys. Long, thin key. He pulled it out this big. The key was this big. He poked it and said, go inside. I pushed it and there was a huge room. It must have been around like little football field, right? Like the children play right outside your apartment. And it's full of artifacts. Could be stolen, could be bought, I don't know. But they were rare artifacts. There was a deer skin, and I was so curious. I put my toe and I rubbed the deer skin. The deer skin was old. It had become like paper, And I looked around. I'm a dancer, right? So the Rudram has one stotra, one verse. It says, Shantam Padmasanastam Shashidhara Makutam Panchavaktam Trinetram. I think it says Ganta. I forgot. I don't say that verse. It describes Shiva as with one weapon. Okay? Pasham, Khadgam, Cha Ganta, it says. Parashu. So I've never seen, if you look, even now today, you go looking at a Nataraja, you'll never see a Nataraja holding a bell. I saw Nataraja holding a bell. That means this was very old. They were thousands of years old, I'm sure. Because the Rudram has matched the Nataraja. I've never seen it other than that. And full of dust, he had gone crazy. That guy told me a scary story. He said, doing Vipassana, this guy's gone pagal, he's gone back to America. I said, okay. Then I said, oh, I want to say my prayers somewhere. I looked in a corner, I saw a black statue of Devi. Okay. And the Devi had no sari, which I've never seen. Again, all shock on me. It actually had breasts. And she was holding a cone and black, pitch black. I said, oh my God, how sad. Poor Devi, let me go and say my prayers here. So I wiped the Devi up and I lit the lamp. I said my prayers and whatever. Those days I just having my conversation with her. I tell you, then I came out and immediately something started happening. So I was playing with her in the pond. I put my feet in the water. That guy said, don't put your feet in the water. There are 2 snakes in there, water snakes. Suddenly I was doing something. I saw one turtle. He said, there's another turtle here. I said, you put them here? No, they've come from the forest nearby. 2 snakes, 2 turtles. Then I was having my tea in the evening. I saw 2 black crows. Everything in twos. I saw 2 mongoose playing again in twos. I didn't think too much about it. So I came back home. And then life started. Then I heard another voice in my head. Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti. I don't know why. I changed the name of my school. And it just changed. Every door started opening, And I was somebody used to hate women. Girlfriends were toxic. My Masi was toxic. My mother was toxic. Everybody, all the women in my life were toxic. So the aunties and the mothers would come only to cause fights. Ghar pe. Huge fights, and fight over money, fight over property, fight over egos. Girlfriends were there initially to confuse me more, and just, I can't tell you how women were like that, Neighbors would fight against women, aunties. Big fights over small things. And, just so like fire. And then when this entity came, the mother, so can you connect it now? So when the Purohit told that lady, the mother was calling out to him. It wasn't my physical mother, it was the spiritual mother. Many years later, I realized why I saw things in twos.
So excited.
Yeah, because Shiva and Parvati are 2. And Shiva and Parvati are 1. 2 entities in one body. Male and female. And that's when I realized the universe is telling me something. I saw everything in twos. Very eerie. It's just unbelievable. And yeah, it's crazy. And then I was doing something one day on YouTube. I was writing some listening, and suddenly the Durga Suktam popped up. And within 10 minutes, it started going to my ear. And I started chanting the Suktam without anybody's help. A Brahmin from Udupi on my wall, I was chanting one day, I put it on YouTube, and he's like, "Who's your guru?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Who taught you the stotram?" I said, "Nobody." He says, "Your Ucharam is just perfect." Even the Lalita Sahasranam, I read it in Kannada. You know, the Vattus, as in the, I don't know in Hindi what they call it, the R's and the E's. I can see and hear everything. So truly a blessing. And then what happened was I had a bad relationship. I've had a series of bad relationships because people like me give. Like the ma, I give. Like the mother I am, I just give and give and give. I'm here to give also. Like I tell God, I want to be one of the best artists in the country, because I think people need me, and the art needs me, because the art is not about me. For everybody else, it's about mujhe dekho. It's like a movie star, right? Oh, I am the star. And classical dancers walk around like this all the time. Yeah, tell me, I look at them and like thinking, what is wrong with you? Power, money. Classical dancers, first of all,
Yes.
exotically beautiful South Indian women. My God. Thank you, Kiran. And
So,
the
so
money that comes with
Charles, I want to ask you one question because it's connected, and then we'll go to audience. Time flies. Can
oh
you
my
believe
God,
we already
I
had
know.
45 minutes of conversation? But I want to
I
get
know.
one question in before we go to our audience. I always look at Indian dance, especially, and questions crop up in my mind. I think it is mystical, and I feel it is full of paradoxes. You have movement outside, but I think there's a lot of stillness within. Right? You are entertaining the world, but at the same time, deep within, you are connecting with the divine.
I'm very still as human being, very, very still.
Yeah. So I just wanted you to dwell a little bit about dance as a spiritual art form. If a few words on that, and then we can go to our audiences.
It's not about dance. I'll tell you, I feel like I've seen people my grandmother's age or seen people my mother's age, they're still not at peace with themselves. It's still about my daughter or my money, my car, my kitty party, and even dance is like that. People, they fight over Padma Shris, they fight over Sangeet Natak Academy Awards. Some of them are almost in their grave. Still they fight over that, right? So I don't think it's about dance being a spiritual medium. I mean, it can take you towards it, but this is the Kali Yuga, right? So even dance, and I tell you, sorry to say this, I mean, politics, religion, and art go hand in hand. Deadly, deadly, absolutely deadly. With very, very dangerous. Dancers are politicians. Dancers are connected to politicians. They're deadly. They're connected so badly. And then politicians connect religion, right? I mean, controversial. It's just everything troubles me. I mean, what is mine? What is yours? This is my temple. This is my mosque. This is my church. This is you. You are me. It just troubles me so much. But I have become spiritual because dance showed me the path. But how many are willing to take that path? See, how many willing to take that path? It's like a guru. The guru says, don't do that. Don't do it if you're a good student. Others, you'll do it. The guru means dispeller of darkness. Guru. All right? But that doesn't mean that every guru will have good shishyas. And I'm one of those few. No, I think I'm the only one in the whole of India who wakes up and says my prayers at 3:45, 4 o'clock, and connects that to my dance. So won't that be a powerful experience? Here it's about 4 o'clock get up, do 1 hour yoga, do 1 hour cardio, do 1 hour strength training, do 1 hour teaching. And it's only about the body. Indian art is not about the body. It's about releasing oneself, right? I'm already on my path to release. So that's what it is. So today's generation, I saw this boy, another competitor or contemporary of mine. My God, he danced so well on YouTube. I saw him. And within 2 minutes, I switched it off. He's narrating, Muruga Sami ni manimi rangi vantam. Muruga Swami ni manami rangiyan arultama. He's asking God, Muruga, Shanmuka, Muruga Swami ni manami rangi. come wholeheartedly. Mana mirangi arultama dayanide. Gimme, come bless me. Dayanide Muruga Guha. The line is empty. You're telling God, oh great ocean of mercy, come bless me. Daya Nidhi, the very Nidhi of Daya. And it was empty. It's just the body moving. He's looking pretty, he's so pretty, that boy. He's marked every tick mark. Beautiful, sanskari types. But there was not even this much of a reach to, not even me. How will you reach the universe? These youngsters know in Chennai, they're in India, classical dancers, rub themselves physically, and every day they put a video on YouTube for likes. And then and I'm like, no bhava, absolutely. Bhava, no, actually not no bhava, no bhakti. How can you take away bhakti from Bharatnatyam? Only when something hits you very badly, you have a loss, you lose a parent, you lose your wife, you lose your lover, you lose your money, you get very sick. Then you say, oh God, oh God. Then you see God. Otherwise, you don't see God. And these youngsters are living. These youngsters are living in this warp. You know, they're living in this warp. And once that comes from above, no, deadly. Just so it's frightful sometimes. I've seen things. I have times. She gives you such a slap, right? Such a slap. Yeah, my God, you wake up, and then some people don't wake up. And I've seen it in the last 2 3 years. People have got slapped left, right, and center. Like the COVID families have gone in seconds. Like just disappeared into dust. What have you taken and gone? You've taken nothing, boss. And you want to fight with your neighbor? Every day they would fight. And the family was gone in seconds. Seconds in dust.
Absolutely. So Charles, here's what we will do. We will take 3 questions from our audiences. You've seen how interactive they've been. We've had an amazing 50 people joining us, many more, some of them probably keeping their time. So I'm going to ask any 2 or 3 people to please unmute yourself and ask a question. Yes. Okay, Vinaya, I'll let you go and I'll take 2 others, but that's it. Because, we can't get a very short response from Charles. So keep your question limited.
So Rajesh, we should have a longer session with so many more interesting things to tell you.
Yes. I actually knew that, Charles. It's impossible to get everything. It's impossible. So we will
because it's about spirituality. Yes. Otherwise, it's not. If it is about the body and 2 + 2 makes 4, it would have got over in 20 minutes. Absolutely. But because I experienced energy is moving, right?
Correctly. So Vinaya, please unmute and ask, and anyone else, you can please raise your hand so that I can come to you next. Yes, Vinaya.
Thank you, Rajesh sir, and it is a delight to hear to you. I'm audible, right? Because my
very clear.
Okay. So I wanted to ask that the path you are onto, sir, is very different, and it's very rare to be on this path than the society. And when we are on this path, we will face a lot of conflict. The society is very different. They will be opining you on very different path, and your inner voice is opining you on a very different path. At such time, how did you maintain that balance, or how did you choose that you should still hear your inner voice and filter out what the society wants?
No, it's basically how did you stick to your dance despite the hundreds of conflicts?
I think with dance, it was like, I believe, first of all, it's the doing of a higher sort of energy. But I connected my dance to one thing. It is pure Vidya, Saraswati. Yes, I need the money, but I'm not as commercial as other teachers. Sometimes I don't even know if children have not put fees. So dance taught me to give away, right? And give and give and give away. Just give everything away. But you should have enough to lead a dignified life. Obviously, I'm a human being, right? I also need to have dignified life. In fact, 2 3 days ago, I went through a shortage because I've just come out of a bad relationship. Again, I've been used. But it's okay. Somebody ate, somebody did well, go from here. Go. I told her in the night, I said, oh my God, I need help. It just comes. It's unbelievable. Somebody wants to pay me 30,000 to speak. Somebody wants to pay 10,000 to buy some music from me, and I'm done. And again, I'm back to the center. But talking about this conflict, it's less about society. It's more about me, right? And I'll tell you, as a human being, I'm a human being. I'm struggling with the need for love. I'm struggling with the need for sex. I'm struggling with the need for money. Should I look? I see a car going. I'm like, look at that car. Never mind. Okay, then you turn because that car will entertain you for 2 days. I bought a pair of expensive shoes. Some people gawk. It's 12,000 rupees. Somebody says, oh, 12,000 rupees shoes. And then I used it and I'm bored of it, right? So then I realized how empty it is. So it's very difficult even as a human being, but the spiritual path is like that, right? Imagine your life without love. Colorless it will be. Then when it's there, it's troublesome. you know. So I've been through both sides. Love is there, it's troublesome. Love is not there, also it's one journey. Then blah 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 blah. So that is the thing. So it's less about society. It's what's in your head, right? But I'm not bothered with society. I'm bothered about how I'm going to deal with this need for money, this need for sex, this need for success, this need for this, need for that. But maybe all this need is only to, people have really hurt me. really hurt me. I'm carrying wounds from the last 20 years. Wounds, like still bleeding. And I 5 o'clock morning, I go and I crack a joke. I go vomit everything in the puja room. I say my stotrams and I tell her everything. But in the puja room, ulti is done. I tell her everything every day. I'm like, you listen to me. Now you tell me what to do with it. Take it, ulti. All my, it's very difficult to come to terms with that. Very, very, very difficult. So it's all in your head. And I don't think we'll find that. But if I become successful, I become one of the best artists in the country, in the world, get into politics one day, study my law. It's to make a difference to everybody else in this country, right? What will I take and go? Nothing. I don't have children. My brother doesn't have children. My brother and me will wipe out my father's lineage. Both of us unmarried. So we wipe my father's lineage out. But so there's nothing to leave behind. At least you have children, you have grandchildren. Say, oh, I'll build a house worth 5 crores. Bache ke liye ek plot. I know people who bought. The child is 11 years old. They bought already 3 plots, and the child has 3 plots and 2 houses. So I have nothing. So what do I do?
Just yourself.
That's all. Give it all away. I tell God, let me be the most successful man in the century. Let the world remember me, and just give it all away when I'm gone, right? And that's the purpose of it. No, even if you have children and all, it's good to give them, but to a certain extent. Right?
Lovely. So we are going to take one last question. We've already got suggestions for having a part 2, Charles. So we will do it. Right? Okay,
Absolutely.
Shalendra, over to you. Please ask your question. Keep it short, and we'll take the response from Charles. This will be the last point we are taking. Yes, Shalendra.
Yeah. First of all, Charles and of course Rajesh and the rest of IWL, I think it was a very interesting session, and Charles especially for being very forthwith and frank, especially with all the personal details. I have one question. You were narrating about the children of this age, the dancers, physically perfect, dancing very well, and not having bhakti and bhava. I am a little confused. To achieve that physical perfectness or those moves and those, you need to be involved, right?
Correct.
How can you achieve that without the bhakti and the bhava? So how does that happen?
Nice.
I don't think it's really possible, right?
It's a very sort of a way of rote learning today. Like 20 children class, they go, it's become a physical thing where it's competing. Now there's something called an arangetram, right? So the girl will perform first time on stage, like what that Ambani's daughter-in-law did. So today it's become a matter of status. It's become a matter of I can do, everybody can do. So it's become rote learning, right? So if you do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you tell the child, smile, children. The child will just smile. Everybody smile, everybody smile. The teacher says, do this, and the child will do. Today there's another sort of a pandemic, imitation pandemic. students look just like their gurus. Like they look like mini gurus, like mini gurus, including my teacher students. They want to wear the same jewelry. They want to wear like the costume like a teacher. And I was watching a senior guru from Delhi, a very celebrated guru. Her dancers dance. I saw copies of 6 of them. I don't know who's who. So on the physical level, it's very mechanical. And actually, Adidas, takka dimmi, takka chonnu, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you tell a child 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You put 20 of them together and show them videos. The child will just do that.
No, but the aesthetic movement of the hands and the feet and the neck and the eyes, it can't come by rote, right?
It comes by rote. See, it comes by rote. There was one Vietnamese dancer, amazing. I have never seen anybody that perfect in my life. But it was and the varnam was Rupamu Juchi in Telugu. Show me a beautiful form, O great Tyagesha, O great Shiva. There was nothing. He was just like a piece of paper, white. But his body was so perfect. You know what I mean? So he had just come to the Indian guru and learned exactly what the guru taught him. Right? And it worked maybe for 20 hours a day or something. It was so perfect. So Indian children are becoming like that today. I was telling somebody a story. I said, you don't know who Narasimha is? No, sir. You don't know. I have to tell them stories. Oh, that's what happened. I said, no, the Markandeya story. So Markandeya, he's supposed to die at a certain age. And then when Yama comes to pick him, he hugs the linga and then Shiva bursts out. So he holds the linga. So Yama's wondering what is happening. Yama's pulling the noose. And this boy is not coming. Then Shiva bursts out and Shiva kicks Yama away. So I knew this. And the children are like, so what is that story? And they come from Hindu families. So I am teaching Hindu kids stotrams. Supposedly I'm not from a Hindu family, but things like even small verses like Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum, or say it's the Kayana Vacha, or we after small things, and they're very important, or saying things like Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, that they know in school, but these deeper things, So that it's what happened abroad. What happened abroad? Like foreigners, I'll tell you one thing, Shailendra. So when foreigners come to India, they are amazing. Foreigners work very hard on the body. Okay, they're perfect. But when they dance, there's just nothing. I can't explain it to you. The Abhinay also will be there. They've imitated the teacher, but it's like eating like rasam without taste, right? Like rasam and rice without pepper. It's just like that, like insipid. The word is insipid. So that's what's happening. Indian children today, same thing. It's only outside, and they're not able to bring. So I found out why foreigners dance like that, because they don't understand the bhakti. They don't understand the way we live, right? Like the joke Aishwarya Rai cracked. I don't need to call my parents. I don't need to make an appointment with my parents to go to their house. She tells Oprah. So there you have to call your parents, say, Mom, I'm coming over. But here we just walk into each other's houses. My parents, burst in any time in my house without even warning me. I mean, we're like that. We are like that. So,
of course.
Yeah, Indians are like that. We're very warm. I got invited for the child's birthday next door. Somebody sent some vadas from the next house. People are very warm here. We're all very warm. What are you doing? Auntie's like, look at this boy. He has no time for anything. He's always on the run. They all crack jokes. Neighbors like, he'll send some busy bele bath. So we are like that. But foreigners are not like that. But we are becoming like that, Shailendra. So Indian children are also becoming like that. There are three things that I want to close with. Number one, your careers, not mine. Mine is very slow. So your careers are fast. IT, lots of money. You don't have the time to actually spend time with your neighbors or enjoy life slowly. No time for children. Children are put in babies first football class, basketball class, swimming class, music class. So you want to keep your children busy till you come back home. So where is that? Then no grandparents don't stay with you. Who will teach the child a stotram? Who will teach the child Lord Rama came, Sita got married, Ravana came? Who will teach? So children are going further and further away from that, and children are becoming like that. It's very, very sad. I remember I taught this. We did a Varnam, and there's a part that says Shadodari Shankari, Shadodari Shankari Chamundeshwari. So the girls, they're like me, half Christian, half Hindu. The Devi was supposed to appear, the weapons appear. She's supposed to stab the Mahisha. She stabs the Mahisha, and the Mahisha is down. This is demon. So he looks at her. How much to tell the children? I gave them books. On the show day, she stabs the demon like this. And the demon is happy. And all my senior girls were like, "Oh my God, look at these two!" Like, and you can hear Aigiri Nandini Nanditam. You can hear, and we're all, it's hot from musician side, and that is sung like that on stage, in that meter, Aigiri Nandini, and he stabbed, and this child is smiling, like that, and the Asura is even better. Asura is so happy to die, smiling and glowing, and and then my seniors like, oh my God, look at these two idiots. The second piece I taught her was Chaliye Kunjanamo Hamatum Shama Hari, she says. It's a beautiful raga, Vrindavan Saranga. She says, Chaliye Kunjanamo Tume. She says, come and go to the banks of the Yamuna, Krishna, you and me. Let's go there and you make love to me there, she says. That child just smiled through the whole thing. Chaliye kunjanamo. This one plastic smile like this. Tume. So, you know what I mean? They're not able to internalize it. First of all, no time. It's study. And this parent made the children. They play football, they play cricket, they play the drums, they play the guitar, they play in church. I mean, so much. It's too much. I mean, and I asked the parent, I said, why are you doing this?
Without any depth of, or the
I asked the parent, I said, why are you doing this to the children? No, my daughters have to be all-rounders. Yeah. So all-round is this round. So all-round is this.
Yes, I'm going to have to, very reluctantly close this. But
yeah, we had a great
at the same
session.
time, have had so much joy today. I don't think, even though on one hand, as a moderator, I'm keeping the time, but at the same time, it's just flowing and flowing. And Charles,
Absolutely.
That's the way you are. You're a river of expression. So beautifully, you took us through your experiences, your journeys, so down to earth. I don't think there's a single soul over here who's untouched by what you shared, Charles. I want to convey our gratitude on behalf of everyone. We are all lovers of Indian wisdom, we say, but we also saw what an exponent of Indian wisdom can be. Doesn't matter if the background to begin with was diverse.
That's true. It was like Bhel Puri.
Bhel Puri, but Bhel Puri everyone loves. So we loved the Bhel Puri that you brought to this session. I'm going to hand it over to Amita for the closing. Amita, over to you.
What an amazing evening, Charles.
Thank you.
Amazing
I had great fun.
Session. We loved your candid voice of expression. Lovely. I think everybody enjoyed it. Your rich and varied experience. What a bhel puri, like you said, but really tasty bhel puri.
Very special bhel puri.
Yeah, but yummy bhel puri and wonderful sense of humor. So I think today's evening was really special. And as Chiranjeev Gurukul continues its purpose of building the community, this time in association with Indian Wisdom Leaders Group, I invite all, I think we have some new people who have joined the session today. I invite you all to be part of our community. We are doing some very interesting work here. And we have great sessions that are planned for this year. So please do keep in touch with us. You can connect with either Upasana, myself, Meenakshi, or you can write into chiranjeevgurukul@gmail.com. Meenakshi, I would request you to just post it in the chat so people can just copy it. And CG, that is Chiranjeev Gurukul, has already done some great power pack sessions this year. We've had people like Dr. Raj Vedam. We've had Mr. N.K. Chowdhury recently do a session with us. So we are getting some very interesting and inspiring leaders to be part of our program. So do keep in touch with us. And we've also had foundation, our leadership programs, which we have conducted, which is the foundation module, which we have completed recently. We are just completing one now. And we are coming up with a new foundation module, which will be launching on 30th of July. So if any of you all are interested in learning and more about Indian wisdom and clearing your misconceptions about Indian wisdom, and learning new, different ways of understanding Indian management methodologies, please do reach out to Meenakshi and self for registering for our course. And I want to extend my sincere appreciation to Upasana Nagarajan for arranging this wonderful interview with Charles. It was really fascinating, and we want to keep in touch with you, Charles. We want to do a
Absolutely.
part two on the spirituality bit, little deeper, session on that. And thank you, wonderful co-founders, for being here. Rajesh for facilitating this wonderful interview. All our patrons, our participants, our mentors, our community members who continue to support our endeavors. Thank you so much for being here today. And with that, I would like to call this evening to a close. I'm going to finish with how we normally close our sessions with the Shanti Mantra. So please do join me. Whoever knows the prayer can join. And Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Dhanyavad. Thank you, Charles.
Welcome,
Charles.
Just let's
Such
have
a
one look
delight
at
to have
Veer
you.
if he's there.
Veer, come here. Aja, come here. See you, see you, see you. See you, see you, the
Oh,
friends.
sweet.
That's
Yeah, hi.
Veer
Who's
from
Hi,
this?
Veer.
Motu. Say, everyone sing, you see.
Wee,
Motu.
wee, wee, wee.
He loves attention. No, Motu. Can't even see
He
that.
loves it.
Say, see you. There. Say bye.
So namaste and thank you very much again. And we look forward to meeting all of you once again. Bye for now.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Namaste.